Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will now hear the verdict in the very, very intrepid case of MCU Phase 4. Tonight, His Honor Steel City Hitch will deliver this verdict, and hopefully the defense and the prosecution accept his decision, and if they don't, heck with them, because this court, Steel City rules.
At least
Take
this
it away,
one.
Your Honor.
All right. With that, I gavel into session. The continuance, part 2 of Nerd Court Case 1, the trial of Marvel Cinematic Universe, Phase 4. Is it overrated? And would the Batman fit in there as a better, the best of the movies? Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the court coming here. Everybody looks fantastic. I love Ken particularly. You just look amazing. You're the beacon of light that shines on me every morning when I rise. And thank you for that. DP, as always, you've arrived. And T Mitch, I love the art in the background. It keeps me going. Now, without further ado, I set the standards for my evaluation, and the court is, very pleased with the arguments that were presented to it in general. The court found that both sides did a very competent job, and therefore there was no recourse except for me to evaluate these movies on their own merits. So let's talk a little bit about Shang-Chi. Now, Shang-Chi has some good comic relief, and it's a tight movie. That's a tight runtime. It's brisk. The plot zips along. It really zips along like on a runaway streetcar. It really, really moves. And then, I watched the Batman on HBO Max, and if you said Steel City Hitch, if you made a Batman movie, what would it come out like? If you took all the things that if you just had your druthers and you could make it however you want, it would probably come out pretty close to this. I mean, they really, I think, hit the mark a lot with the aesthetics, and I like, Robert Pattinson does a really good job portraying Bruce Wayne in all the phases. I love the difference between Batman versus Bruce Wayne, the facade, versus that guy in the middle that we see in the Batcave, right, with all the eyeshadow. Really, really enjoyed that. And then I realized there was like 2.5 hours left in the movie. And it's a very long movie. It's very, very long. There are a lot of loving shots of Batman walking, a lot of loving shots of, things that happen. Catwoman walking back and forth like a cat. There is, ecological terrorism on a scale. I don't even know how you repair a busted seawall like that, or why you would build a city underwater. Seems interesting commentary on
southern
global warming. Yeah. So I felt nonplussed because is the Batman better than Shang-Chi? The answer is yes. Is it the best Batman movie I've ever seen?
It's up there.
So here's how I kind of attack this, and you guys are gonna hate it. So count one. Is Marvel MCU Phase 4 overrated? Guilty. It is. It needs to have something to pep it up. Now, I'm not saying that it's unsalvageable, but heretofore there needs to be a little bit more action. So on count one, I find guilty. On count two, though, not guilty. I like the Batman, but the best of the MCU Phase 4, minus the Spider-Man, even handicapping it like that, right? I still just didn't see it. So here we have on Nerd Court a split verdict. For the first time, we have essentially I know you're thinking that this is a no contest, but in actuality, you've both been found guilty of severe violations of the nerd law. You both have. I mean, no winner means two losers is the way we see it. And so we will move on to the next segment of the verdict. Sanctions and fines. Now, sanctions and fines here, you know, I don't want to be tough because, again, a closely run thing. So me and the bailiff have to get together on this. Bailiff, I have a suggestion for you, and you can decide if this works. I think that we should sentence T Mitch to have to watch Aquaman again. And I think that because of his incredible affinity for Marvel Phase 1, that DP should have to watch Thor 2.
Oh,
What do you think about that?
Those are heavy fines. I think the having to watch Aquaman again, especially as someone that's really tried to avoid ever watching it myself.
And you'd have to watch it. We'd all have to watch it because, I mean, how would we check up on these guys if we don't watch this?
You'll see the screenshot after the stream.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, the first 20 minutes.
I think after the first, if he can get through the first 20 minutes on a second watch view, I think that's going to be enough, and then maybe like a couple Hail Marys, and
this is like excruciating.
So DP really came in pretty heavy with the he was talking about writers and writing and everything was really bad. So maybe we should make DP like reread, like, I don't know, a comic series, maybe the Hulk, or maybe the introduction of She-Hulk. Maybe he should have to read
Savage She-Hulk. Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah, I honestly, because that's going to be the next thing in the Marvel universe that I guess is going to be attacked. So maybe
it's a good thing. It's a good thing. You're so good looking.
As DP said, that'll be a slam dunk anyway. So
okay. So we'll cut it to 10, but it's 10. So 10 minutes each of these movies that we know are trash, and that's how we'll gavel out.
How are we gonna know they did it?
I mean, it's the honor system. They're just going to be angry about it for another 10 minutes.
I don't even remember the movie, so maybe I'll watch it just to watch it.
Hey, you never know. Going the extra mile is how we do it here on the. On the
I'm down. I haven't seen that movie since the theater, so
So you can watch. You think you can watch 10 minutes of it and be truthful about it?
I'm gonna watch the whole thing. I'm gonna watch
Marvel Phase.
I'm
Marvel Phase. I'm in it.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you know it was a good verdict, because the punishment fits the crime. Everybody's happy. Well, that essentially that'll wrap up that case. I think we're pretty much.
I did not expect this walking into the court there, Your Honor.
Well, you should have complied with the court's orders to ignore Phase 1.
He didn't expect an actual punishment.
Oh man,
no.
Well, you should have read the fine print on Nerdcore before you came on.
All right. I come into the building expecting a win. Here I come with a fine.
There's a reason we're going to rotate judges.
Yeah.
So next week we have an interesting case, and this is one that will be argued. Me and Ken are going to be on the opposing side, so that's going to be hard for us. I know everybody's all torn up about it. I'll just put it up here. So next on the docket, do George Lucas's revisions improve the original Star Wars trilogy? Now, as discussed, we're going to leave off things like advancements in sound tech and those sorts of things, and better transfers and that stuff, because that's always good, right? So we're not going to, cleaning it up's fine, restoration's fine. We want to talk specifically about the inserted scenes. I think that's kind of where we're going, and the changes to the scenes that are integral to the plot. I know one big question here is going to be, what about Han and the order of shooting? So we're going to have a really great time next week. And everybody, I hope you're ready to see some payback because next week our judge is going to be none other than our very own DP Brown. DP will be getting the reins next week. His honor. All right. Anybody have anything else before we go? Any other case, please?
Going back to my punishment.
Yes.
So when we watch these movies next week, when we watch these movies, should we be expecting like a short review, because it essentially be a rewatch for me,
I think maybe like a 30 seconds, like just 30 seconds of what did you learn from watching this movie?
Right. Like coming up in front of a class and everything, and I could dig it. Thor: The Dark World, huh?
Yeah, at least the first 10 minutes.
That is my sanction, guys. For those who are just now tuning in, my sanction fine. I came into the building expecting a win, and I came out with a fine. And my punishment is Thor: The Dark World. Okay, so this is interesting.
I think you can handle it. I think you can muscle through it.
We'll see.
I feel like this was a very wise verdict, and I'm very grateful to the court.
Yeah, I think it was fair. If Matt Reeves is out there, thank you for forcing me to watch Thor now, or not Thor, but Aquaman, which is basically
Aquaman.
It's a rip off of Thor because Aquaman should have had short hair, but they went with the whole Hemsworth look. But that's another case for another day. So yeah, it's not even the real Aquaman, but yeah.
How many times Batman got shot like hundreds of times, including right in the face with a shotgun, and it was
realistic though. He took it, like a champ.
Super realistic. Just bang.
You know what I will say? The only thing
Batman movie I love.
I like the movie. I just liked it because it was a different take, and I feel like with the DC characters, they need to go down that other darker route like that. That's why I said that I thought that this was the start of a new kind of DC.
They did. It was called the Snyderverse. What are you talking about? They went dark. It was called the Snyderverse.
See what this guy does.
That's why you're both watching a movie this week.
Oh my god!
He said a darker take. I have to think something about that.
If I hear one more peep out of you, it'll be Man of Steel, and I don't want to have to do that to you. I will do that.
I love Man of Steel. I'm a Man of Steel advocate.
You see this guy?
It's okay. Hey, if you guys have been paying attention, this is the great thing about waiting as long as we have to actually do something like this, is that we've talked plenty with each other about what our what are things we don't really like are. So we're all just super vulnerable about that.
We know where to put the nails. We know where to make it.
I'm terrified. I gotta argue. I'm arguing that Han shot second next week. So
yeah, you better be ready because I have.
It's about to be a winner next. This has been a decades-long controversy.
Mm-hmm. It could be. This could be a long. This might be. We might be out for deliberation for maybe 2 weeks on this one. DP, you're gonna have your plate full.
He's gonna come back in on the first count and just start sentencing me. You're gonna get more, but just to start you out.
You might have to call a recess.
DP. I have the punishment. I have the punishment already.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, walks, baby.
I have them. I'll watch them. I don't
no.
Animated,
don't tell me.
Action.
Don't tell me. I love being surprised. I love being surprised with stuff like that.
I'm gonna text it to you because I got it. Oh my god.
I guess I better get busy rewatching Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi to try to make it 2 series win. Not one.
You know what? What's funny about this whole thing? If you think about it, it's almost impossible to watch those original cuts unless you have them.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to go buy it, but you can't watch it anywhere. So I just finished watching it came out in 1979. It was the first home rental version of Star Wars, and I watched it on VHS.
You watched it on?
I just watched it on
VHS.
On VHS.
With the actual what? A VCR.
Correct. And I'm like, this is a great movie. Why did anyone change this? What were they thinking?
Those fools. Well, I think that they made some good additions, and that's how it's going to be.
We're going to see. We'll see.
That's right. And DP is going to judge it. So, and I'm making him watch Thor this week. So we'll see how the scorecards come out, right? DP. That's how. So hey, everybody, remember to visit us at nerdcyclopedia.com, which is our website, and remember to follow us and subscribe to our podcast, the Nerd Cycle Comic Flick Show, where Nerd Court lives for now, and Carbonite Bounty BS, our Star Wars podcast, where the four of us talk about our dumb opinions about Star Wars and also review Star Wars media and do it competently because we know what we're doing. Anything else, gentlemen, before we go?
Thank you for your verdict, Your Honor. I appreciate your your judgment there. I have to take it like a man. And Thor: The Dark World. That's all I have to say, folks. You know how that goes in lore in MCU.
You know what? You're welcome. You're welcome.